Welcome to CompSci360, the ultimate virtual summit for MS in Computer Science in the UK. This two-day summit will give you a 360-degree view around everything related to MS in Computer Science in the UK, with subject knowledge experts and student mentors from top universities. Before we hear from the expert, we want to walk you through the CompSci community on the Nebula platform, a dedicated space for you to connect with other attendees and build lasting relationships with fellow computer science enthusiasts. Throughout this summit, you will interact with a number of subject knowledge experts, and if you wish to get a personalized one-on-one mentorship session or get your queries addressed, you can book a slot with them by visiting their Nebula profile. We believe that this session will enhance your learning experience and help you achieve your study abroad goals. Thank you for joining us today, and we hope you enjoy the summit.
Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to the final session of today, CompSci's Internships Part-Time Post-Study Job Session. My name is Sarah. I'm an in-house language trainer, and I will be your host for the session. Before we get into today's session, I would like to give you a brief introduction of Nebula, CompSci360, and also a brief as to how the session would work. Nebula is a platform for students by students who are aspiring to study and work abroad. Nebula provides guidance from scholars, alumni, or professionals, and the resources to break the barriers of fear and other challenges to survive in a foreign land. Now, when it comes to CompSci360, CompSci360 is a summit that has been organized by Nebula to help students aspiring to study MS and computer science programs in the UK. And we aim to provide all of you here today the knowledge and resources you need to make informed decisions about your education and your career. For this session, I would like to ensure that you are sitting in an area with undisturbed internet connection. Also, in order for this session to be an interactive one, you can use the audience chat to communicate your questions, responses, or if you're facing any technical difficulties. Now, towards the end of the session, there will be a time for Q&A, so you can also post your questions in the audience chat during that time. Again, during the session also, if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the audience chat, and we'll get towards answering towards the end. Okay? All right, without further ado, let me introduce our speaker for this session, and that's Mr. Vishal Nirwan. Vishal is an MS Computer Science alumnus from the University of Southampton and a senior front-end developer in the UK. Today, he will be sharing his insights and experiences with regards to the UK job market and provide valuable advice to students on how to prepare for and secure job opportunities in the UK. If you're looking to kickstart your career in the UK, you've come to the right place. All right. Good morning, Vishal. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm just going to hand it over to you. Could you tell us a little bit more about yourself and also your journey from studying to working in the UK?
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. So thank you, Sarah, for such a lovely introduction. Just a thing that actually is not the issue, but that is the last updated on my LinkedIn as a senior front-end developer, but I have not updated my latest job there. So I didn't get the time to update it. So since November, I have been working as a tech lead at Seven Hill Solution. So just to be clear for everyone, so I have been working there for past 4 months. But yes, yeah, frankly speaking, the journey has been good and bad both. I'll share all those things with everyone. So yeah, it was a ride from choosing the university, the country, and now here I'm here as the speaker of the summit. uh, Things have changed lotly from here on. Mostly the things which I'll be telling you guys will be from my personal experience. Maybe a few things will be generalized, but I'll ask all of you to do your research on your own and take decision on whatever the university you want to go to, or whatever the country you guys gonna choose, or what course do you want to pursue. So it has to be on your own. uh, Okay, so it has to be on your own and not completely depending on someone blindly. We are here to guide you. We are here to mentor you if you guys need any help, any suggestion from us. But yes, At the end of the day, you have to do your own research to actually implement the things which we have faced already. So yep, that's what the thing is now. And yes, Sarah, sorry, what was the question? I completely missed it.
No, not a problem. I think you've answered most of it.
Yeah.
Also, you'd like to just give us a little bit about maybe your journey from as a student, and then working.
Okay. Yeah. So when I started my master's in September 2021, it was for 1 year, and I graduated in September 2022 last year, and it was an amazing journey. So initially, the plan was to complete the masters, apply for PSW, that is the post study work visa. That is right now, it is for 2 years for all the students who are doing their masters, and then get a good job, and then maybe look for tier 2 sponsor job. That is the name has been changed to the skilled worker visa. The tier 2 name is not there anymore after the Brexit bill has passed. And even the PSW, the post study work visa name has been changed to graduate route visa. So initially the plan was like that, but during my first semester, there was a conference that held in the university, and I met a few people out there. And one of the person was an Indian international alumnus of the University of Southampton only, and he was in HSBC. So I had a conversation with him, and he told me that we can actually get the tier 2 or the skilled worker visa directly after our graduation. We don't need to apply for PSW and then look for the tier 2 sponsor job. So that thing really enlightened me, and then I decided that after completing the graduation and everything, most probably why to apply for PSW, I'll directly go for a sponsor job. So the journey begins actually from there to find the job and all. Before that, I was just going through, I was just looking for all the internships in my field and everything like that. But yes, after that I started to apply for the sponsor job, which is the like the bottom line of our immigration status in the UK.
Okay. I mean, from what I heard at the beginning, though, it sounded like quite a ride. And also,
Yeah.
I mean, you had mentioned the ups and downs and had been good and had been bad. And we are looking forward to hearing your experience as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get right down to it. As the session suggests, we're going to be asking Vishal anything and everything about internships, part time, and post study jobs in the UK. So I'll just get the ball rolling for us. And I'll start by asking you and just saying, with the various and numerous changes going around in the hiring world, especially at the moment, could you please just give us an overview of the current job market in the UK for students, Vishal?
Yeah, so if I talk about the current job market in general in the UK, then of course it has always been competitive, and it is still competitive as of now. But if I talk specifically about the computer science students, then the job market is much easier, I'll say, when compared to other courses, because the technology is always it was and it is and it will be always on the boom in the UK. And there are lots and lots of job opportunities with the right skill set in the tech world. As everyone knows that UK, or rather London, is all about management and business, and hence the number of students here in the management and business schools are more. Therefore, the competition is more in the field, in that field. If I am not in the technical field, then yes, there will be difficult times I'll face to crack a job. But then, if I talk about the experience of my friends who were in business school or who were in management side, they actually struggled a lot to crack a job. Whereas people who were actually studying the STEM courses like data science, data science, artificial intelligence, software engineering, they actually got the job quite easily. And if you are having an experience back in India, or anywhere else, then it's a big plus for everyone who has got that. So current job market, it might look tough while you are there, or you are seeing the news on LinkedIn on or wherever, but then when it comes to the ground reality, if you have the right skill set, I really don't think that it's that difficult. You will have that pressure of getting a job when you are here, far away from the home, but don't be pressurized because of the time and the thing that you are out of your house, out of the country and all. You will get the job eventually because you have got the technology in you. Yeah.
Right. That's really reassuring to know. Thank you, Vishal. All right. I'd also like to ask you if you could give us an outline of the job options for international students post your studying period.
Yeah, as an international students, like there are ample of job opportunities. You'll get, you can even get the option to switch your profile. You can get the job in the same profile as well, but you might need to switch a profile. You might not, you do not want to go for that particular field in which you have done your degree. That is also quite feasible and practical here in the UK. I'll tell you, I was attending one of the Google's conferences last year in the uni, and in the presenter actually stated a fact that only 20% of the people pursue the career in the same field in which they have their degree. Rest 80% of the people are scattered in the different fields. So these numbers actually hit me, and I was like, okay, then why are they studying that degree? Why? So and I'll tell you, like practically in front of me, I have a live example of that. A couple of my friends who actually study data science were finding it difficult to crack a job in their field, maybe because they were fresher or something like that, and eventually they changed their field to a software developer. So of course data science, for a generalized person who never who knows nothing about computer science or technology, maybe for them a developer or data science is the same thing, but someone who is from a computer science background, it's a huge difference. So studying data science and then cracking a job in software development is not a big thing. So you can of course switch profile. You can go for even business courses or business jobs as well. So it's like the job opportunities are ample, so you do not have to worry about that. And especially after Brexit, where the European Union is out, sorry, the UK is out of the European Union. So it's the labor in the market is short. There's a shortage of the labor in the market, and more people are needed to have to do the jobs. So it's like you will have ample of jobs out here once you are done with the degree.
Right. I really found that statistic that you presented quite interesting. I mean, people who
Yeah.
start off with one thing and then they move on to another thing, which, like you said, gives them way more choice at the end
Yes.
of the day to explore their options and finally settle down, or just for the time being, settle down, we can say, for a job that might just interest them or in their interest field.
Yeah.
That's really great to know. All right. So, Vishal, let's just take a moment to discuss the different internship and part time job opportunities in the UK, probably at the moment. We just like to know what are the options students have when it comes to part time opportunities, either while studying or after, or even internship opportunities.
I have already discussed this thing in the morning, but I'll have a discussion again because there might be a different audience. So the thing is, during your course, you can have different types of part times or different type of part time, or you can have just a sec, different type of internships. So as I told in the morning, that it totally depends on how comfortable you are with your timetable and your schedule to have a part-time job. Because as during the course time, it's limited to 20 hours a week, and according to your schedule you should have that part-time. And as I said, that there are two types of part-time. It's like the blue collar job and the white collar job. uh, blue collar job is all the stores and warehouses or delivery jobs where you can be in the food industry. If not, then in the warehouse. And especially a city like Southampton, where most of the business comes from the port, because it's a port city. I don't know, like, many of you might not know, but after starting from Belfast, Titanic took a stop in Southampton, and it was quite, the port is huge at Southampton. So you will find a lot of jobs in Southampton, and apart from and even in the cities that are in the north or in the Midlands also, you will find ample of jobs. And regarding the internships, uh, as I again mentioned in the morning, I got the internship in the very first month when I came here to study. But I opted for the blue collar job because I wanted to have that experience as well. So as I said, like, you will have ample of options for part time, for internships. You just need to have the right portal to apply there. So for internships, LinkedIn and Indeed are mostly used in the UK. And if I talk about the part time, where the blue collar job, I told in the morning that uh, the students should go to store the old fashioned way. Just go out there on the high streets. High street is the main area of the city. Just go there, have your CV in your hand, keep putting your CV onto the doors, and give to the employees that are actually working there at that time. Because I myself has received hundreds of CVs while I worked for Subway for 10 months, and I eventually passed over those CVs to my manager. So these things are there that actually work in the UK. So you have to be active, you have to be proactive in all these things. Maybe there will be a few hesitation in the beginning, like, no, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. But yes, eventually you have to do it once your savings are gone. People with experiences will come with savings. They will eventually be getting over in first 2 months. It's expensive out there. So yes, so uh, go for part times, and you'll have the options. Go for internship. If someone do not want to do the blue collar job, then of course you can, of course, always look out for internships. You can have work from home work as well, some chat support, email support team, or on call support for everything. So all these part times are available here.
Fantastic. Yes, I think
Yeah.
everybody, that's one point to note. I'm sorry, Vishal, were you saying something?
No, 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 no.
Okay. So yeah, everybody, I think that is a great point to note. One thing that stood out for me was proactive. Be proactive. Get out there and just put yourself out there, and do it whatever you can to attain that that job or that opportunity, right? I really like that point. So maybe if you guys are having your notebooks with you, write that down. Be proactive.
Yeah.
All right. So Vishal, we also would like to know, what are the requirements to be eligible for an internship in the UK, and also how can one apply for an internship in the UK?
So, when you talk about the eligibility for internship in the UK, so are you talking about during the course time or after the completion of the degree, or both?
So yeah, we can have a discussion about both.
Okay. Yeah. So, first of all, let's talk about while you are in your course. So, during the course, the only requirement that is needed by the employers is your right to work. And in as a student, you have got the right to work in the UK. You have got 20 hours a week of time where you can actually do any kind of job, whether it's be internship, whether it's be part-time. It's all there for 20 hours a week. Beyond that, it's illegal. Not at all recommended at all. You will end up in jail, or you will be just deported back to India. So don't do more than 20 hours. And frankly speaking, if from my personal suggestion, I would just say, do not go beyond 15 hours. Otherwise, you'll mess up with your studies. So 15 hours is like, keep the limit there, and you can have ample of time to study. Because when I was doing my part time, I used to just work for 12 hours. I used to have 2 day shifts, 6 hours each, and that's it. That made me enough money to pay for my rent and everything. So yes, the only requirement is your right to work, and that's it. No other requirement needed. Rest, everything is on your skill set. If you guys are looking for internship during your course, search on websites like LinkedIn and Indeed. Maybe you can get an interview or something like that. If that, yes. For internships, there are no not much of a difficult interviews or assessment test. There will be hardly one or two face to face interviews, and you can easily get it, so that's not a big issue. And mostly, like, if I talk about computer science student in particular, so you will be competing mostly with the Chinese in this domain, because they are more in numbers when you have them in your classrooms and everything. So, and their communication skills are not as good as us. So it's a big advantage for you guys to crack any kind of internship or job. So that's the only requirement during the course. And after you have completed your degree, I would not say that you should go for internships. I will say that you should directly go all guns blazing to apply jobs and everything. Try to find a full-time job. But then, even if in that case someone needs to go for internship, then also the only requirement is your visa. And that time, so let's say someone is coming on September 2023, then you guys will be graduating in September 2024. So your student visa will be valid till January 30th. So from September to January, you are eligible to work full time, that is 40 hours a week. So you can do that. But some of the employers, what they do is they say that your visa is going to expire soon and you need another visa. So they will ask you to apply for post study work visa, that is the graduate route visa, and then only they will onboard you. But then it is you who has to make them understand that even on the student visa outside my term time, I can work full time. So this is something which you have to take the initiative and explain this thing to your employer, because I'll tell you, many of the employers, they don't know how the visa system works here in the UK for an international student. So it is your responsibility to explain it to them, because in my case I have done that. That's a detailed topic. We'll come that on later. But yes, these are the only requirements, that is the right to work both during the course and even after the course.
Right. So I think you kind of gave us a lead into the next question, which is great. And I feel like the next question is quite an important one, actually, which is if there are any restrictions on international students working part time in the UK. I mean, I'm sure you mentioned about the visa and the timings and things like that, but do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
Restrictions as such, just the 20 hours per week thing is the only restriction. But I'll tell you, like, uh, people will ask you to stretch out, people will ask you to do more hours, and they will say we'll pay you in cash, we'll do this, we'll do that. Please don't do that at all. That is completely illegal and not at all recommended. Just you can tell them straight away on your face that I am not eligible to do all these things. Because I'll tell you, once a person who is completely fresher in India and here in the UK, when he or she starts earning in pounds, for them it's a huge money. So within time period, they actually completely ignore their studies and they eventually shift their things to part time. They start doing it as a full time job, they start to miss their classes and all. You should always remember that your ultimate goal is to get a degree in the course which you have enrolled for. So don't prioritize your part time over your studies. So the restrictions or the limitation is just 20 hours a week, nothing else. And you can, of course, any day opt out of these part times. The notice period is hardly 7 days, and in some of the cases there are no notice period at all. so you just can tell your manager or call your manager, from tomorrow I won't be coming. But that is not something I'll recommend, because that is not professionalism is. So always tell everything in advance to all your managers, whether you are at an internship or you are at a part time.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. I would just like to stress on and emphasize the fact about what Vishal said, and that is, remember, your ultimate goal is to get your degree, right? You're part time and you're working. Yes, it adds to your experience, it adds to everything. But again, you work so hard to go abroad to study. So make sure, guys, that you do that, keep that as your main goal. And then, on the side, have your part time or your job or anything like that. And again, like Vishal said, communication is key, right?
Yep.
Communicate to your managers, tell them, right? And I think that should help. Yeah, excellent advice. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Vishal, I think what everybody here would also like to know are what are some tips on how to apply for internships and part time jobs?
So again, one of the things that I've already covered, websites like Indeed and LinkedIn are there to apply for the internships and for the part time. Either any kind of recommendation or store, you just hop on hop off the stores on the main market area, the high street, and if your accommodation or your uni accommodation or your university is far from high street, then go out in the local area where you are actually living or where your accommodations are, and then go to the stores there and ask people if they have part time. Join the Facebook groups of that particular city, of that particular university. Join all the Facebook groups that are possible. Join the WhatsApp groups. I know they are irritating. People keep on pinging there every now and then, but yes, join them. You will find some useful information there. Actually, I got my part time from a Facebook group only. I posted my friend posted something on group that we are international students, we just came in the UK and we are looking for part time and all. And then one of the people called us that let's meet 8 a.m. in Subway on this particular day. We went to Subway, and then how we got the job part time. So like store to store, Facebook, online portals like Indeed and LinkedIn will easily crack your internships and part time. Also, regarding the internship, which are particularly in your profile, you can always refer to the careers page of your university. Every university in the UK have got the careers page on their website, and you can always refer there because they have got a huge list of internships and jobs posted out there. It's just that you have to filter out uh, what suits you, what your field is, and then you can easily apply. Especially for a computer science students, there are ample of options on the university's career page as well. So you do not have to go here and there, LinkedIn or anywhere. You will find ample of options there only, because those particular jobs are listed just for the students. They are tailor made for the students. They are mostly for the freshly graduate students. So you can directly have a reference from the university's career page.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes, that's what your university is there for as well, to help you kind of transition from being a student and going
Yeah.
on into the working professional life. Yes, absolutely. So, yes, everybody do make a note of that, to, keep checking your university page and keep seeing what's new on the page as well. So we have been talking quite a bit about, while you're studying, about part-time jobs, but if there are any more requirements that are needed in order to be eligible for post-study jobs in the UK. So if you could just tell us how students can find post-study job openings. I think you did mention through Indeed, through LinkedIn, just being proactive and going out there, going on your university website. Anything else that you'd like to add? Maybe, yes, the requirements needed to be eligible for
Yeah.
post study.
Yeah. There are many actually, but
Okay.
let me just point out some of the main requirements. First of all, is your visa status. That's the most important one. because I'll tell you an example. One of my friends, she was doing clinical psychology, and during the time of the dissertation, she went back to India for whole of her dissertation. That was the 4 months, and she was having her weekly meeting online with a supervisor. But when she came back to submit her dissertation, the supervisor said that since you were not here in the UK and you didn't meet for all this while for 4 months, then I won't be accepting your dissertation and I'll be failing you in this thing. So with this, she did not get the marks. She did not get the MSc degree, and because of that she could not apply for PSW, that is the post study work visa. And on in the middle of January or something like that, she left UK. She went back to India, uh, and if not, she would have been deported. So these are a few important factors. Let's say if you fail some exams, try to, if you are a September intake student, try to clear them when the re-exams are there. Mostly they are in the August the following year. So if you are planning to come for 2023 September, so if you fail in any of the exams in any of the semester, then your re-exam will be in August. So make sure that you pass those exams. If you are failed in those exams, you won't get your marks, you won't get your degree, and you won't get your this thing, the PSW, post study work visa. And the only escape out of this is to crack a skilled worker sponsored job before you apply for PSW, but that is very difficult to do. So I'll tell you in my opinion, among the batch of approximately 400 Indian students in the University of Southampton who came for masters in different courses, only I'll tell you 10 or 12 people were there who got the tier 2 job, the skilled worker visa job directly. Otherwise, most of the students have applied for PSW. So tier 2 jobs are not that easy to crack. They are quite difficult. So always the only source of the requirement or the let's say the what was the word? I missed the word completely. The only requirement for a student to grab a job is the PSW, the post study work
Right.
visa, and for that you have your degree with you. So that's the only main requirement. Other than that, yes, networking, as I said that earlier, as I mentioned, in one of the conferences, I met a person who was an alumnus of University of Southampton working in HSBC. He told me that we can actually directly apply for tier 2 sponsored job, which I was not aware of. I was having a thought in my mind that the timeline was to have the degree to apply for PSW and then to get a tier 2 sponsored job. But when he told me that you can have the tier 2 job directly after your degree, then I eventually made a shift to my job search, and then I cracked a tier 2 job directly after my degree.
Right.
So this is something which everyone should be aware of, and must go for this, because the ultimate goal is to have the tier 2 sponsor job.
Fantastic. That's
Yeah.
really great to know. I think you touched a lot on very important points. Again, going back to what you said a little earlier on in the discussion about making sure you have your degree. So focus on getting that degree and then kind of go on towards finding the job after. Again, this doesn't mean to say like you shouldn't find part-time jobs in between, nothing like that. But I think the main point that we're stressing here is in order to do this, in order to get the job, especially post-study, is to make sure you get your degree.
Yes.
All right, Vishal, and on to our final question for the session. We would just love to hear your advice on preparing for job interviews and assessments that could be given. Could you please share your thoughts?
Yeah. So Job interviews are the most difficult part of this. So I know right now all the aspiring students must be worrying about their university shortlisting, their admits and everything. But let me tell you, this struggle will go for quite a long time, will continue with you guys. So yes, job interviews. The very first step here in the UK is the CV shortlisting. So most of the CV shortlisting is done via the artificial intelligence tools, and I'll tell you, uh, before my first CV was selected for any of the interview, I was rejected approximately 40 times. My CV was not shortlisted for 40 times. I was applying for all the jobs and everything with all the details. I'll tell you, my first interview came after the 40th attempt, where my CV was shortlisted for the very first time. And yes, after that, then if I come to the other rounds, then there will be, as a computer science student, there will be a psychometric assessment, in which they will try to know exactly like how can you be how can you indulge within the team, how can you dissolve within the team in their organization and everything. So it's quite a huge, it's a MCQ of approximately 150 to 100 questions. That is a mandatory test, that's a psychometric test, which most of the companies in the UK follows. Then apart from that, if you clear that, then there might be a face-to-face interview or the assessment or the coding assessment in my case. And if I come to some analysis courses, then there might be some task of analysis, or something like that in other cases. So yeah, there might be face-to-face interviews or the assessment. And then depending on the company, like what procedure do they follow, they'll have more rounds. Might be there are a few companies where you can have just 2 or 3 rounds. For example, let's say NHS, the National Health Services here in the UK. I applied for a job there, and there were approximately 7 rounds. I cleared 6 round, and I was out in the 7th round. And it was a huge setback and a heartbreak for me, because NHS is something which is regarded very highly here in the UK. So it's like it totally depends on the company or the organization, how many rounds are there for the interview. But yes, you have to be descriptive in your interviews. You have to actually explain things very clearly, because I'll tell you, the interview process in India and here is very different. You can't beat about the bush here. You have to be direct. You have to be on to the point with your interviewer. So if, even if it's a technical question or it's a non-technical question, you have to try to give a closed answer. You cannot just give them an open-ended answer, because that will create more trouble and more questions for you only. So it has to be a closed answer. You have to might be you might need to go through some video interviews as well. So video interviews are something like you'll have the questions there, and you have to record yourself on a particular portal, which the organization will give you the link. And you have to speak for 2 3 minutes. You will have 30 seconds to prepare for your answer as well. So those types of interviews are also there in one of the rounds. So it's like preparing for an interview is quite a big task. I can't explain that thing to you in like 10 or 15 minutes. It is something which you will eventually get to know once you will face those particular things. And at least once or twice you will get to know the market, you will get to know how the questions are being asked, and what all the things they focus on while interviewing a fresh graduate from a university. So this is something which will be a challenging part in whole of your degree of 1 year.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I think it was very detailed. Vishal actually gave us the process, the different steps, what would happen, even shared his own experiences. So I hope you guys were
Yeah.
able to grab on to everything that he said. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right, Vishal, thank you so much for this very insightful discussion. On to you, everybody else, our audience, our participants here. It's your time to interact with Vishal and go ahead and ask your questions. We have time for a couple. So, yes, use the audience chat. As
Yeah.
I'm looking through, I'll just go through a couple of questions. We have a question from Shreya who's asking, how long does it typically take for recent postgraduates to find employment in the current scenario?
So it totally depends on what kind of skill set you have and what experience you hold previously. So people with experience find it easier and they can get the job easily, but who are totally fresh from, even they have done the undergrad from India and then they are straight here for the masters, it is difficult for them to crack a job. Plus it totally depends on what course are you in, because some of the courses like supply chain, MSc in supply chain and all those things, jobs are difficult out there in those courses, whereas in computer science much easier. So I can't just typically tell the timeline, what exactly how much time it takes for a graduate to crack a job, but yes, it totally depends on different scenarios, on your skill set, on your course, on your experience. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Yes, that makes complete sense, right? So, another question that we have from Rahul, this is to do with visa. How can international students navigate the visa and work permit process in the UK? And what sort of resources are available to help them with this process?
Okay, yeah. So, international. So, as I said, that I was an international student, and directly from a student visa, I got the work permit. The work permit has different name: work permit, work visa, um, tier two visa, skilled worker visa. So, the official name, according to the UK government, is skilled worker visa. So yes, you can so the process which I followed, I'll tell you, the process which I followed to crack a tier 2 job was, or the skilled worker visa job was, to shortlist all the companies that that sponsor you the skilled worker visa. And that thing uh, apply in those particular companies, and then you can have the response from them whether they are taking you or not, or your CV is going forward or not. So just list out those particular companies. You should be aware of those companies which are sponsoring you the work permit. That's the most important part, because people here, or the students here, they don't know what companies are sponsoring and what companies are not sponsoring. Yeah.
Right. Perfect. All right. I think we have the last two questions very quickly. We'll just take them on. The question is, what are some of the most in-demand skills and qualifications for students looking to secure post-study jobs in the UK? And also how to
Okay.
develop them. But yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Right now, the most in demand skills and qualification for the students, of course, anyone with technical side has a big advantage over others, because mostly, I'll tell you, as an Indian, I was the only one in whole of my class during my course as MSc Computer Science. Whereas if I talk about MSc Business Analytics, MSc Data Analytics, and all those things, there were approximately 120 students in Business Analytics, 120 Indians in Business Analytics, and approximately 60 students in Data Analytics.
Mhm.
So you see the competition, you can easily feel what could be the competition among them: 120 students from business analytics and only one, me from MSc Computer Science. So
Yes.
the skills that are needed to crack a job here in the UK should always be technical. uh, they are much easier, like in order to crack a job. And people, like here in the UK, there is a shortage of technical people. So you should go for technical courses rather than business or management courses here in the UK.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. And I think
Yeah.
just one last question for today. Um, and I think it ties in with what you mentioned at the beginning. And that is, we would just like to know very briefly, or however you'd like to tell us, your experience. How has your experience been up till now, being in the UK, your transition from being a student um, to working. You mentioned there were ups and downs, as there always will be. So if you just like to quickly tell us about that as well.
Yeah, so uh, let me tell you, things look easier when you are back in India, but in reality they are not. You'll feel homesick. You will at some point of time you'll think like, why am I here? Is all these things worth it? Shall we go back? Because I have seen a few of the students leaving the studies in the middle and going back to India because they were not able to cope up with all these things. So yes, life is difficult out here. We are as an Indian, we are not used to do all the house chores that are there, from cooking and cleaning and everything. This is something which you'll eventually develop with time. Of course, in the beginning you will just avoid doing things, and you'll think that my roommate will do, the other one will do, or this and that. But this is something that you have to take the responsibility, you have to do things yourself. So starting from the very beginning, when I entered the UK, it was the post-COVID era. The All the shops and all the malls, they used to shut down by 4 p.m., 5 p.m. I was like, why the hell this country is so dead? My life in India started after 5 6 p.m., and here in the UK it has to end at 5 p.m. So I was like, this country is so boring and something like that. But eventually, but with time, I have learned something like, uh, this is like Indians have ruined or spoiled themselves by following the Western culture, by getting up late in the morning and sleeping late at night. But the British or the Americans, they are actually following what we used to follow, what our parents used to follow 10 years ago, starting your day earlier. So even like today's my first talk was at 6:30 a.m. It was not an issue because I generally wake up at 7 a.m., even if it's a weekday or a weekend. So this is something which is like, you have to inculcate. This country is not for late nighters who are awake in the late hours or something like that. Because actually, apart from London, everything closes by 5 or 6 p.m. In all the cities, whether it's Manchester, Edinburgh, Glasgow, or Liverpool, Leeds, Southampton, any city you name, eventually there is no nightlife. London is something different. It's the capital, it's the business capital of the world, so it has its own perks. But with those perks comes the cost. London is hell expensive. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. So when I came in here, I noticed all these things. I was like, is it worth to spend the life here or not, or all those things. Then eventually my first semester came to an end. I got the marks. They were quite good because I studied. I did not focus on the part time much, though I was doing my part time, but I was giving enough time for my studies. Then came the second semester. In the second semester, I attended all the conferences to crack a job, to crack an internship or something like those. And then in the Easter, so yeah, here I want to mention one point which actually I missed in this talk. So Easter holidays, that is the April month, the month of April. It is one of the most important month according to me, to get a job in the UK. So you'll have the holiday for a whole 1 month. And I'll tell you, in my case, most of the students, most of my friends, they went back to India in this period of 1 month. And me and a couple of more were the only one who were actually staying back. And in this time, I actually dive deep into the job market, and actually pushed myself to update my CV. Because as I said that I my CV was rejected 40 times before it was selected once. So I continuously updated my CV. I had got the time in that particular 1 month to update my CV, because you have different kind of lot of works, so you don't get time to update your CV on daily basis. But April is the month. And because I was so hyperactive in the month of April, I got a job by the end of June. And in the July I got the joining. as a senior front end developer at Riomed, which Sarah mentioned in the introduction. So it was from July, and I conveyed to those people that I can't work for full time because I'm on a student visa. They said that that's fine. You have to work for 20 hours a week, and then from September onwards, we'll give you a full time contract. So this was something which I cracked. Whereas when people came back from India in the first week of May or the end of April, they were baffled, they were confused where to start. Do we need to focus on the dissertation, or do we go for the job interviews and all those things? So actually they had very less time to focus on their dissertation plus their jobs. So mm, one of the suggestion is to stay back in the April, get a secured job, and then of course you can go to India after September. Don't rush to go back to India, because right now at this point of stage you guys are rushing to come in the UK. So don't be that person who just want to go to India, want to go to India. So just take your time, relax, understand the job market, and then plan everything. And that's how, like, I quit my part time in the month of June. I started my job as a senior front end developer in Riomed in July. So the main thing for me to resign from Riomed was they weren't having the license to sponsor me the tier 2 job. So I conveyed this thing to them that if you guys are not having the license, then I won't continue, because as an international student to work in the UK, I'll be needing the tier 2 or the work permit. So they were very supportive in this, and they understood that yes, as an international you'll need that. So then I started again looking for the tier 2 sponsored job, and I was there with Riomet till October, and then I cracked a job somewhere in mid October, the tier 2 job, and I got the joining in mid of November with my new company, that is the Seven Hill Solution, which I haven't yet updated on my LinkedIn because I didn't get the time to. So yeah, so this should be the timeline for the job hunt, according to me. And this is just not my experience, but a few of the people that are still there with me who have actually followed this timeline, they are actually doing very well. And the people who went back to India during the Easter holidays, they actually struggled a bit. But yes, of course, they are also having a job, but most of them are on PSW, post study work visa. But yes, they actually struggled a lot because everyone in the UK, see, the UK has got thousands of universities, and most of the students start applying in that August September time frame. So you see how the competition will be at that time. So you have to be one step ahead from everyone. I think that's enough.
Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much, Vishal. I mean, wow, what a cracker of a session. I think this was amazing, right? So we've just come to the end of the session, but Vishal, I'd just like to take this opportunity. Thank you so much for joining us today, not for one session, but two today.
Yeah,
Right. So,
no worries,
yeah,
no
thank you
worries.
so
Yeah,
much for sharing your insights and honestly for your honest experiences. I love the fact that you brought in, so many experiences. You told us about your personal experiences, what you saw from your friends, and everybody. I hope you really took notes because Vishal had some really, really good points and tips and advice. So I hope
yeah,
you really grabbed that opportunity. If not, that's okay. You also have the opportunity to interact with Vishal on the Nebula platform. Do check out his profile. Feel free to connect with him, ask him any doubts, right?
yeah.
Okay. So, Vishal, I hope you enjoyed being part of the sessions and this session as well as much as we enjoyed having you here today.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you everyone who has joined today's talk. Yeah, you guys have a good evening.
All the
Yeah,
best. Have a good day and have a good evening.
bye bye.
Bye.